tear, to rip. And sometimes in life, it's like our soul has been a little bit ripped. We're missing something, something's hurting, or we're at a lack, and we feel like from the inside there's been a cut. But I also mean it in the biblical sense of the passage. There's been some things sown, some seeds called tares that have been sown in our soul. And so those seeds are going to grow up. I hope today that by the end of the message, that if you could think about your source of thinking. Think about the reason and the why that you think the way that you think. In the 1930s in Philadelphia, the Italian mob had made a major inroad. In fact, there would be a whole group of them called the Cyanide Syndicate. And they had this terrible plot. They had some people in Italy, and they would come to hardworking young men and say, would you like to move to America? And they'd say, yes, I would. Would you like to be married to a beautiful young lady? Yes, I would. We got a job lined up for you. We got an apartment lined up for you. And we got a young lady, a young widow lined up for you. They want to marry you. They want to meet a hardworking Italian man. Would you like to come? And they didn't know that they were dealing with mobsters. They didn't know it was the Cyanide Syndicate. And so they would agree, they'd put the paperwork in, they'd move to America, they'd come to Philadelphia, they'd meet a young lady, and right on that day they'd get married at the courthouse. And right away, that young lady and the mob were in a connection, and they would get life insurance policies on these guys. And these guys would go to back-breaking work, and they'd bring home their paycheck, and they were learning English, and they were trying to get in, and they were enjoying their wife, and then they'd have these dark spots on their skin, and they couldn't quite figure out why. And the young lady would say, well, go to my doctor. And there was a doctor by the name of Dr. Morris Balber, and he was in line with the mafia. And he would give them what he called love pills. He'd say, hey, if you love your husband, give him this pill. And it was laced with cyanide. And little by little, these men were dying. Their hair would be falling off, and their heart would be pumping rapidly. And they would go to Dr. Barber, and they would say, I need some medicine. He said, hey, take these love pills and see how it goes. And the young ladies were in on it. And it was a slow death process over a couple of weeks, a couple of months. And they would lose their strength. And then they would die of what looked like natural causes. And then the widow and the mob would take all the life insurance money. Yeah. From 1930 to 1938, over 100 men were murdered in this way. They thought it was medicine, but it was really poison. What they were taking to get better was really killing them. And some of us have these thought patterns we've had a whole life. And we think it's getting us better, but I got to warn you. The enemy has come and he's sown some tares. In Matthew chapter 13, Jesus gives the story. He gives a parable. He said there was a man that had his field already. He had tilled it. He had sowed it. And his servants went out and they were observing it. But this man had an enemy. Somebody that hated him. Somebody that wanted to destroy him. And the enemy snuck in at night. And he took these bad seeds called tares that grow up like thorns and thistles. And he sowed these among the good seeds. And nobody knew because it was the night. And he was so sneaky. But as the time started going by, they watered both the seeds, and both the seeds sprouted, and tares and wheat, in the beginning, they looked the same. They kind of sprout out the same, they kind of wrap the same, the stem looks the same, but as they started shooting up, the servants worried. They realized, uh-oh, there's a bunch of tares, there's a bunch of thorns and thistles growing in our wheat field. And they came to the master and said, Master, what ought we to do? Should we rip out the tares? And he said, no, you can't do that now, it's too late. It's been sown in the ground. And if you rip those out, you might rip some of the wheat out. Let's just wait till the very end. And then we'll cut it all down. We'll sort it out. And then we'll burn all those tares.